Gear Matters, Chris Howe, Mark Bone.
And I'm going to build off of that to welcome you onto the podcast. First question, let's get right into it.
Let's do it.
Does gear matter?
No.
You're the first to say it, by the way.
Really?
And I really want you to elaborate.
I think back to the beginning of my career. The first 3 years after I'd left film school, I didn't own a camera. I think I might have owned one crappy lens. It was like a kit lens, but I didn't have anything that could take video. Yeah. Now that did hold me back to an extent with some clients, but what it forced me to do is when I was pitching to get work and to collaborate with people, is I had to come to them with ideas. I couldn't just show them the work I had shot. And I found that I was more effective because I was thinking about the story and what I would do with the camera rather than what I had done with the camera. And I found that as I then started owning a camera and shooting, I just had this arrogance about me that I was like, well, I got a camera, so I'm a filmmaker. And I think my work went down for a season there before it picked back up again, before I realized, oh no, I need to get back to the core ideas. Because anyone can, if you have the money, then anyone can own a camera. So that's not a separator. It's just like owning a camera is kind of just an equalizer in filmmaking. Yeah. But what separates you is the ideas you bring to the table and your sharp, precise understanding of a good story. And if you listen to my channels or anything I say, I'm always talking about that. But I genuinely think gear really doesn't matter at the end of the day. It can be rented. It can be borrowed. It does craft and shape the way you're telling the story. But I think the first foremost thing that all filmmakers should be thinking about are what are the ideas I'm bringing to the table and what is my understanding of storytelling. That is what will separate you. We don't say we love Wes Anderson because he uses this type of lens. It's like, no, it's like he has a very sharp style and we can identify his films. It's like we do talk about Nolan using an IMAX film, but at the end of the day, we are talking about what Interstellar made us feel. Yeah. And so I think it doesn't matter if you're putting it up against, like, what matters more, your ideas or gear? Well, ideas all day. Yeah. Are you a storyteller? How are you taking your life and creating a voice as a director? Like, what are you allowing that has happened to you to shape the stories you tell? And so I think those are better questions to be asking.
For me, I also find, like, even just in the world of social media these days, I also think the idea is the separator too. No one is watching a piece being like, what is this shot on? This is so amazing. Like, you might have a little niche group that's like obsessing over that, and there is some like technicality. It's fun to talk about gear, hence why this podcast even exists.
And I will nerd out on gear today.
Yeah, absolutely. But I also think that what builds a brand, what gets you, let's say, attention online that can create opportunities for work is your ideas. Mm-hmm. I think it took a long time. When I first started, I thought because I owned the Canon 7D, that was the reason I got hired by the government agency of the town of Newmarket. And literally my boss told me, they were like, we don't care that you have that camera.
The client doesn't care.
You have to come in with ideas.
Yeah.
And so again, it's always going to be like, I lean more on like a hybrid of them both because, you know, they are paintbrushes. They all leave their little mark on it. But I think we're focusing too much on nuance versus like bigger picture. Yeah. You're missing the point if you don't have the right story or the right actors or the right other core ingredients. Yeah. We're talking about icing the cake.
Exactly.
And you're not even realizing that the cake doesn't even taste good. Yeah.
Anyone who's telling you that gear matters most either owns a rental house. Yeah. owns a YouTube channel that's only about camera gear, or they're really good at shooting flashy reels because that's the gear. They need their gimbal and they haven't cared about story. They care about flash. And those are, I'm not criticizing any one of those. Yeah. I'm just saying at the end of the day, if that's the avenues you're looking to take in your career, then yeah, gear matters. But if you want to be a filmmaker, an artist, a creative, none of those things have the word gear in it. You're not a rental house. You're not a gear channel. You're not a gear guy or gal. It's really comes down to the ideas, and that's the tough thing because that's so you say that be a good storyteller, and it's like, well, it's invisible and it's like floating around us right now. But it's like I could pull out a piece of gear and be like, hey, like this is cool. This is tactile. Like I can see the price and I can get a new version of it. That's the easy part. Yeah. But it's like I always say, if you're obsessed with gear, it's like people gathered around a car engine and just talking about it all day and be like, oh, that's an inline 5 or whatever, versus get in the car and learn to drive. Learn the theory of how to take a corner. It's like learn how to downshift. Things I don't know how to do. I drive an automatic. But understand what the gear can do for you rather than just understanding what the gear can do.
That's good. Okay, question before your first piece. Do you feel like gear and conversations around gear are becoming a little bit more of like a distraction from like
they always,
good content or?
Yeah, well, listen, there's times when you make a big purchase, you do need to research it. So I have gear videos on my channel. I think what I've appreciated recently in YouTube is that people are becoming more honest and open about the gear reviews, but there is still always that tension of like, does it work in the end,
Yeah.
And I think what's great is go talk to someone who doesn't have a channel and see if they like the gear.
Yeah.
That's like, because they'll tell you what they actually think. I think that the conversation around gear is important, but has to be in service of something.
Yeah.
So if we're just thinking, what is the best camera? Like I get people saying, what's the best camera I should start off with? That's too vague. That's not in service of something. Be more specific. What is the best camera for me to travel to a foreign country that I've never been to and tell a story? And I need the least amount of, it's like, okay, so then it's like, I need a camera with good stabilization. I need a camera that has good battery. Like have a more specific question. When people say, what camera should I buy? I go, I could say any camera. That is,
And the camera that probably does it all is way too expensive for
exactly,
this conversation anyways.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. So, I think there's a lot of noise out there and a lot of great people who talk about gear on their channels and more people doing that. So I think though, if you're asking right now, if you believe the hurdle to your breakthrough in a career is owning a camera, I would ask what other work you've done to get to that place. Like that should be like, I've worked on the ideas, I've worked on building relationships and networking. And then the last thing should be like, do I have the gear to do this? Cause like I said, I didn't know, I would just rent gear. Yeah. I would tell clients like, I can do that. And then I would add into the budget or I would reduce my rate and get a camera, believing that it would help get to the next step. And, that said, I can't just say that, when I finally bought a 5D, it did help because then I could just get to set quicker and shoot. But it wasn't like this profound lightning bolt moment that I was like, everything's changing. But what was nice is I could shoot more weddings on the weekends. That's what I kind of did with the 5D for a bit. I was still shooting weddings then because people knew I had a camera. But I had earned that position. They knew I was a good shooter because I had used their gear for a while. And then I was like, hey, I have a 5D. They're like, oh, that's great. So I got some more work once I had it. But again, I'm grateful that I didn't just come out of film school with a camera because I would have just believed that I'm good. I got the camera. Like I have the certificate from Sheridan. Like, it forced me to work on ideas. Okay. This is going to be a weird one to start with, but actually, no, you know what I'm going to start with? Since we're talking about, I want to show something for people that they can actually get to filming the quickest. Go. So I'm not going to, you're like, don't talk about the iPhone, everyone has. But what's great is the iPhone has log and it has ProRes, but it's an insane file on your poor little iPhone. It's immediately like you got 3 minutes to shoot, and
transferring it off your phone is always a little bit of a nightmare.
Exactly. I love the guys at ProGrade. They're really being innovative. They have this thing. This is not an SSD. It's a CF Express A reader.
Okay.
And you can buy their CF Express 960 gig cards. It's like, it's crazy. It's like as much as the data's on there for very affordable. Put that on, click that in, and you have like an Alexa in your hand. Like I remember when I'm dating myself, but I was with a team. We had like the first Alexa in Canada back in 2010. Yeah. And I remember it shot ProRes log 422. And like, we didn't even have the update to go to 444. And I was like, this is insane. Yeah. Like, look at this file. And I remember color correcting and being like, there's so much data. You have that same data. Like you have the ProRes log 422 HQ on this is incredible. So this, when I've been traveling, it's like I find I'm less and less pulling out my actual camera and just using this, but it's always the data issue. So this it like really sticks on there. You can see it's like, and it's super simple. I don't want to be rolling with cages. Again, it's like the second I start building up my iPhone to be a camera, it's like, just use a camera. I see people with these setups and these lens adapters. It's like, just use a camera.
You lose the function of the convenience of this.
Exactly. But this, I can just like pull that off and put that in a pocket. But then I put that on and it's like, bam, I have an Alexa now in my hand. So.
Yeah, you can just carry this with you very easily.
Exactly. And so it's like, what are the least amount of hurdles I can get to telling the story? And this, to me, the Pro Grade with the CF Express A, there's ones where you can get an SSD, and that's just as cool. But what I like about this is I could carry multiple cards, and and then again, it's kind of building it into a bit of a camera. So that's the first piece of gear.
No, I love it. My technical question for you: are you shooting the native camera app, or are you using the Blackmagic camera app?
A little bit of both. Like when I'm like hiking, I was in New Zealand. It's like I just want to get high fidelity. I want to make sure the sky is all there and all that information's there. So it's like I'll quickly just go to the camera app. And but then if I'm like actually shooting for my channel or for like an insert in the film, it's like that's when I'll throw some filtration on. That's when I'll get into the camera app so I can dial it in. But if it's just for the fun vloggy moments, but that I want more data and I don't want to be working with the terrible HDR codec and like Premiere and everything just doesn't know what to do with it. It's like it only ever looks like when you shoot on the native camera app on the iPhone, it only ever looks good on your iPhone. Bring it everywhere else, and I think it's like,
what is this?
Exactly. Like, well, we don't know what language they're speaking. So it's that's why like the ProRes is just like everything gets that, and it always you can always make it look good. And when I brought the iPhone, this is the 16. When I brought the 15 to a professional colorist, I have that video on my channel. He was genuinely blown away. Like I went at night and did a dusk shot outside the Blue Jays game, and he was like, I can color correct that license plate. Like he was nerding out on it. So cool. Yeah, he was impressed. So I think that answers your question.
Yeah, and to piggyback one last one. Yeah. You work on very like high level documentary films that end up getting distributed on all of like the major platforms. Would a shot from an iPhone in a pinch now be accepted for like a Netflix?
Yeah. I have a film that just got released on PBS to 200 million homes, and it's on CBC Gem right now. And I have a couple of shots on there on the iPhone, and it passed quality control, and no one knows. And no one knew. It was like why I used it is we hired a professional scuba diver to come do a scene in our film, and his footage was terrible. It was unusable. Yeah. And so luckily we had a DIT on the set, and he's like, Mark pulled me over and shows me it, and he's like, this is chaos. Yeah. So I quickly ran into the gym, grabbed a 15-pound weight, and then grabbed my iPhone 13 at the time, and jumped to the bottom of the pool and just stayed at the bottom and like held record, no case, no nothing, just like holding my iPhone and shot and got our character in our film to do a bunch of laps above me, and I like swam behind them, and it made it into the film, and no one would ever know. You'd be like, oh, you got a scuba diver, or you put a GoPro, whatever they're at now, 25 at the bottom. Like, so it comes down to lighting and composition. If you have good lighting and you're shooting ProRes, then it's like, but if you have bad lighting, there's noise and people are going to start to think. So I think this works best for wide shots. Yeah. Because again, the second you get into the world of shallow depth of field, you can't do the AI digital one that you're just, people can tell right away. Yeah. But the depth of field is something that glass should be taken care of. And so it's like matters about the glass you have on board. And like I said, then you don't want to build the iPhone into some cinema camera.
Yeah. It captures the moment and still adds to the story, which I think is like
great way of putting it.
I love it.
Great way.
Big update from our sponsor, Artlist, who just dropped version 2 of their voiceover AI feature. Okay, so here is what is new. Greater stability and clarity for broadcast-ready results, which is huge. 23 supported languages, including Spanish, Arabic, Japanese, and much, much more. You have full control after selecting your desired voice. You can even tweak the effects, dialing in the intensity percentage as well. So after playing with it for a while, here's how I achieved the best results. Keep your script inputs clean and clear, and then use brackets to group short phrases naturally like this. Let's listen to the results.
Try the new VoiceOver AI tool. It's easy to use.
Since the launch of this feature, this has saved me so much time, and it sounds incredible. Plus, this just gets us all back to the things that matter the most.
$100,000 giveaway alert.
What would you do with $100,000 if you had it? So this might be your sign, because Artlist is giving away $100,000 to one visionary creator. This is their 3rd year of doing the Artlist 100K fund, and they are looking for the next great idea. And as we know, one idea could change everything for your career, but you need to start. Okay, here is how you enter. Post a video to your socials showcasing your 100K idea. Tag Artlist so they can actually see it, and don't forget to use the hashtag Artlist100K fund. We are not looking for crazy production value. Just you and your idea. If you guys want to check this out yourself, you can head over to artlist.io or click the links in the description. All of this can be found in Artlist Creator Hub, and you can even find it in the extensions inside Premiere Pro. Thanks Artlist for sponsoring this episode of Gear Matters, and now back to Mark Bone for all things life, gear, and the art of documentary. All right, what are we getting into number 2?
This is, I bring this on because everyone's always asking me about it. This is like a conglomerate of a few different cameras, or a few different pieces rather. Yeah. There's a company called, Ultralight, and I think you can get this on scuba diving websites.
Yeah. Because this is what you would rig on top of like the underwater case for like a lighting.
Exactly. So then, but what I've used this is my favorite monitor bracket. I see everyone with their monitors on just with that little like 90-degree thing. And they put these giant monitors on their top handle. And I could never do that for a few reasons. One, now my hand is like a top handle is the most key element on your camera in terms of stabilization.
It's like a balance point.
It's a balance point. It's like holding a grocery bag. You're collaborating with gravity when you hold a top handle. But when you grab a side handle, you're now working against gravity and you're engaging with your muscles. So top handles are great. So I try to keep everything away from the top handle. So I put this on top of my top, like off of the cheese plate, or if there is a point on the top handle, I'll put it at the front so it's not anywhere near.
Yep.
And then what's so great with this is I can then, you can tighten it really quickly, and it's like I can put my giant monitor wherever I need to. I can have it here. Yeah. I can oversling it. So if I'm like doing a low shot, it's like suddenly now, boom, like I have the monitor up to my face. I'm not careening. It's like, like I've been saying, I've been working in film for 20 years now. I know when I've forced myself to act a certain way. I want my camera to work for me, serve me. I don't want to be serving the camera. And so this to me is just I don't know why more people don't have this. I have it off to the side. I can have it up to the front. And then what's really cool is the guys from Mid 49, they have this little piece here. So there's a spring.
Yep.
So you can quickly put it on any cheese plate or anything. And then they have this like little lever here for extra, like, because you just screw it on and then you're kind of screwed when you start moving this around because it flies off. But then you have this little lever here where you push it down and it like just fastens it in. So if you have a good cheese plate, this isn't going anywhere. So this is, I love this. It gets the giant 7-inch LCD right in front of my face, or OLED, and I highly recommend this. So it's ultralight, and I recommend getting the universal speedball adapter at the bottom from Mid 49.
It's a bit of a niche product, and it's interesting because I don't think all articulating arms are made equal. I think it's easy to get caught into the world of being like, oh, I'll buy the affordable one. It looks similar, but it's very easy for the machining to deteriorate over time. And the moment those threads are like just a little bit off, or like all it needs is like the arm to do just that.
It's the worst.
And now the whole experience.
Or if it go off your horizon, if your horizon's crooked, we inherently know when a monitor's right.
Yeah.
So they'll turn the monitor so it's flat, but now the camera's on an angle.
Yeah.
And I see this with people like good filmmakers, and they're like horizons off all the time. And that just means you got to crop in and zoom in, and that's affecting everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what's next?
I love my Sigma 24. It's 1.4. I don't have any criticisms against the Sony ones, but I love the Sigma because it's I just find it a little more creamier. Oh, 24 mil. There you go. The 24,
best lens, best focal length.
I love it. The 20, it just starts getting to the wide angle, but before I could actually afford anamorphic, 24 mil, super shallow, up close with your character, cropped to 235. It's beautiful. And if you can have some interesting bokeh in the background, there's shots in some of my films. Yeah, that looks anamorphic. Like, yeah, I love this lens. I love the Sigma lenses. They're just so affordable. And then, of course, it's almost cliche. I love this, though. I have Sony adapters on this. But this is the Helios 44-2, the 58 mil lens. The combination of these, it's like I can get in close, I can get screwy with this, and then I can hold some nice wides. Color rendering, they don't really match, but I think that's fine. You can kind of fix that in post. Yeah, the Helios is just so screwed up and so fun.
How long have you had this lens, and how often are you using it?
Oh, all the time. It's amazing how many like top level cinematographers I'll be working with on my projects, and then I'm like, you want to try the Helios? And they put it on, they're like, that's nice, and then they end up like shooting on it most. Yeah, I try to not always shoot on it because I feel like it's distinctly become too much of my look, and the problem with this lens is it makes you lazy because you shoot it anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's just so, the background's crazy and there's flares. If you like, if there's like a little hint of light off your glass, it's going to flare out.
Yeah.
So you just feel like this is amazing. But then you kind of wash out the contrast and you don't actually really think about what was I shooting. And then you're also on a 58 mil, which is long. So you're really in tight.
Yeah.
So I have to be cautious with when and where I use this. But it is so fun. Like some of my favorite shots I've had ever in film. Like I think of the short doc I did, Kill or Be Killed, like the light, the sun coming through the trees and then him exercising out front. It was just so cool. It was so rich. Yeah.
Do you prefer autofocus or manual?
Manual.
Yeah.
Like autofocus for interviews now, it's like just that's the best thing autofocus ever did. I'll say this, I'm kind of 50-50 now. I used to be like 90-10, like in favor of manual. Yeah. Still to this day though, the cameras aren't smart enough. Like they'll grab a cup or you're always battling between, you want it to be medium responsive, but then sometimes it's not fast enough. And then when you go too fast, it's grabbing everything. Yeah. So I still love the feeling of like small movements. And so I just think though, it's a good skill to have, because if you just only ever rely on autofocus and then when it's not working, you go to manual, you can always tell when I get footage back from camera operators who don't do much manual, because then they're panicked and they're trying to find it's just a disaster. So I'm kind of 50-50. I still like to be in creative control. Again, I'd say I want my cameras to be in service of me. So it's like, I want you to do the autofocus when I need you to, but then when I'm in scenarios, like someone's cooking and I'm like, no, I want the spatula and not the eggs. Like I'm working on a bodybuilding film. It's like shot a lot of eating because they do it 6 to 7 times a day. It's like, I hate that. Autofocus for that's disaster. Because what's the camera? The camera doesn't know, he's been talking about eggs in the interview, so I need to focus on the eggs in the back. It doesn't know your story. Yeah. It knows a technical amount of, it has an algorithm. Yeah. And that algorithm is not connected to my story. So maybe there was one day I could tell the camera with ChatGPT, like, here's my story. Yeah. So look for these things to focus on.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but
I feel like we're not far away from that.
No, we aren't. We aren't.
I think in the next like 5 or 10 years, you will be able to just like connect your phone to the camera, and the algorithms will start to like do it. Because every camera, we were talking about this yesterday, every camera has the AI option now, which is just like a fun way of saying like it has a beefed up algorithm. Yeah. It's not actually thinking, but it's probably collecting data in some capacity.
Anyways, back to lenses.
Quick note while you're picking the next one. What I think is kind of cool is that because the Helios has such like a rich history, there's now so many companies doing like rehousings of them.
I have the iron glass ones. Yeah. No, they're great. It's nice to have them cinevised.
I think that's like the most iconic one, but it's so funny that I'm like on Facebook Marketplace and people are doing it themselves with 3D model printing.
Oh,
and you can like choose the colors and stuff. And you see it and you're like, oh, it's $400. Yeah. Or $300. And like that's expensive for a Helios.
It is. I used to, I know I need to go change the title, but I'm like, best camera lens ever for $50. I used to grab these off Etsy for $50. Yeah. And now like that video, I still get comments on, everyone's like, it's $400 now. I'm like, sorry. Want me to keep going on gear?
Yeah, let's do it. With all of the different audio devices that are out, I haven't seen this one.
This one's not great in terms of reception, always like as distance, but I'm usually pretty close to my subjects. Yeah. But why I'm showing this one, this is the Sony one, is you don't even need batteries because it just powers off the hot shoe. But I love this because audio, I love hiding my mic. You'll hear me railing. If you have like mics clipped onto in a film, there's a time like if you're doing like a gear review, sure, like have it clipped on. But if you're in a film, I don't want to remind them that they're watching a movie. Yeah, I want them to be lost in my story. So mics are the quickest way to be like, oh yeah, they're making a movie. Yeah. I like to hide the mics. Now, having good audio is so important. And if you think of any movie, 60% of the movie is just people talking to each other. Yeah. So I've been shooting more of my documentaries this way, getting the cross shooting. And sometimes when I'm by myself, I have to do it. So I need all my subjects labbed. So why I love this is this does 2 channels of audio. And if I'm on my FX6, I put this onto the top handle. Yep. Boom. This just takes care of, I put a Cause 11 mic into the Sony pack and just throw out the Sony mic right away. Any of the default mics that come with your mic pack, just put them in a drawer and go buy a good mic. There's a new one that all the sound guys, might be a DPA 7 or something or 6. It's better than the Cause 11, but the Cause 11 is still really great. If you get it threaded for the Sony camera, then 2 incredible, it sounds like a little shotgun on there. It's amazing audio. So I put this on there, then I put a shotgun on my FX6. I still have one more XLR, so I could add a third mic if I want. The more channels of audio I can have, the better. This is why when I see like the Blackmagic new cameras, they're incredible image, but then I look, I'm like, where's your audio inputs? To me, it's not a documentary camera, and it's why I haven't even really reviewed them much, is because I look at the camera like, beautiful images, and I love Blackmagic, I love their ecosystem, I love what they're doing, but it's such a disservice to filmmaking when there's not great audio inputs on those. So I wish there was more, and that's why I love this thing, because it instantly frees up XLR. Genuinely, the next like 4 pieces of gear I'm really excited about. I want to talk about lighting quickly. Zhuin's amazing at this. They have like you got to look at how narrow this is. Yeah. This is a 500.
We need to like also piece this apart, because it gets even more narrow than you
have
it.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah. Like this is, you could like plug it in, I think via, I don't know if you need the battery. I think you can just power it.
Yeah, you can power it normally with an AC cable or even USB-C.
No way. Yeah, no. This is so tiny here. This is just incredible what you can output.
What's wild with these is that even at 1%, it's like insanely bright.
It is. This is not even at, I know there's like a full, like, oh gosh, I'm destroying this room. Let me reduce this. But why I bring this up is there's no excuse, like, for how affordable these lights are getting. And you don't have to get this one, but I do love the Zhuins, because just their ecosystem, they're like well made now.
Yeah.
I've traveled with my Cbum film with Zhuins because they are so tiny. Like, the fact that I could stick 2 of these in, and you can actually, you know what they give you too in this kit is they give you a Bowens mount. Like, you can put a full like 90 centimeter parabolic softbox.
No way.
And it's, so why I'm saying is like this can fit in a fanny pack. You can light. I only ever use like one big light for my interviews, and then try to like let the ambient light spill in if I'm in a rush. I usually avoid backlighting. I like lighting the background. So it's just such an incredible time for filmmaking right now. You bring this in close, it's like you have a beautiful interview. It just excites me so much, and I look at this at my office, and I'm like, I have no excuse not to be just shooting incredible stuff everywhere I go. And then and just the way they manufacture these things now, it's like everything's magnetic. It all just kind of works.
Yeah.
It's all over your iPhone.
And the crazy thing is that you don't even need to have like insane C stands for this anymore. Like you can use the really small ones, which then take up less space.
And then what's crazy is it's full RGB. It's just like, I revel in that, the fact that I used to have incandescent lights that were hot as heck, and you would have to like, literally we had gardening gloves in the kits so we could pick them up. But now these are super light. The fact that I could throw this in a backpack and then I wouldn't even necessarily travel with the softbox. You could just get that off someone, rent it, and it's amazing, or buy one off Amazon. This is definitely one of the pieces of gear in terms of lighting that has got me most excited this year.
I think what is so important about that, because you, just to piggyback off of being like, oh, this just fits into a backpack, the fact that something that would have had its own dedicated case recently fits alongside your camera, your lens, your drone, your laptop, and everything else. A single camera bag can do an entire interview, photo shoot, documentary now.
Yes.
And I think that is like the coolest part, because even though it still weighs a lot, because when you start to add like the 28 to 105, you had other cameras, but you got to think about the versatility of what we've now added into that bag. Yeah. I remember traveling and I'd have my drone bag, my light bag, my camera bag, and now it's like all that's in one, and that bag keeps getting smaller too.
Smaller and smaller.
Right? It still might be heavy, but it's doing more.
Which brings me to backpacks. Yeah. Again, I like to travel inconspicuous. My beef with camera bags is that they always just look like toolkits. Like they're very utilitarian for a purpose, but sometimes you want that hybrid of, I have a camera bag, but this also has some level of fashion, or that it's not just screaming, more importantly, that, hey, expensive gear, like take this thing. So this, I think I saw a post by you once by them, Grams 28. Love this bag. It's like heavy leather, and I can fit. It's very thin. I have the like my laptop here, but then there's little details in here. Like they have this little, you can't really see it, but this pouch that just goes like halfway down, which is so nice, because I had other camera bags and you would throw stuff in with your laptop and it would just disappear, and then you're down into that bag. They've kind of thought of everything. It's like the pocket just goes down to here, so I quickly, and it's all soft and padded, so I like throw my iPhone in there. But if I want to, they have this like specific iPhone pouch that's like very soft, but right now I just have like my wallet and everything in there. This is like that very like ShamWow, beautiful, soft, like one of those, like not ShamWow, but like what's the Snuggie? It's the Snuggie. It's like a Snuggie for your iPhone. But inside here you have like really deep area that you can put in like a cube. I roll with all of my camera gear in here, an FX3, all the hard drives.
Really?
Yeah, FX3, and then like a couple lenses, and then sometimes like I've thrown in the G100 there by Zhuan, and then I have an 8 terabyte drive here that magnetizes to the back of my laptop from ProGrade. It's like I have like a full media kit, and then there's still room in here. There's so many. I'm obsessed with lots of pockets.
Oh yeah.
But the problem is with some bags is the pockets are all in like different areas of the bag that I lose things. But they kind of keep the pockets all in the same area. So if I'm like, where did I put my passport? It's all right here. It's all cinched in. It's like in the same area, and there's pockets on the side. It's not one of those things where some bags you feel like you're on like this discovery tour going into different areas, you know. And then like on the outside here is just another pocket with this really cool like old school like military clasp. It's an expensive bag, but it's so well made. It's one of those ones that when I got it, I'm like, I'm gonna have this for the rest of my life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
you also know it's good leather when I can smell it from here.
Yes, right. Yes, exactly. It's heavy leather too, so it's not like soaking through. It's not cheap. It's like they call it bovine leather, which I think is just means cow. But it's heavy. It's one of those things where it's like you want to buy once, you know, rather than you go through camera bags so often, and camera bags are always of cheap materials. Where I feel like, to me, this is not just kind of a statement piece, but it's something that I'm not going to show up to set with this necessarily, but I am going to travel and shoot. When I'm actually going down to LA next week and then shooting the C-Bum film, and this is going to be my camera bag in that case, where it just travels well, it fits under the seat, there's no worry about that. And it's not one of those things too where some camera bags get so bulky, I feel like the airlines now are like, hey, we need to weigh that. Yeah. And then you're screwed, you know, because then...
And also just like any of the security teams, like when you start to walk around with stuff that looks like camera gear, it's always just a reason to get like pointed out. Like I was down in Mexico City and I had the classic like Pelican case.
Yes.
And I think the moment you have like a hard shell case, they're like, what specialty equipment do you have in there?
Right? Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And then they ask questions, and it's just not a fun experience. Even if you have all the legal document, to not be a target both to like those experiences and out in the world, I think is really important. Like it's nice to protect your gear, but I think you and I are also at a stage in our lives and our careers, as well as like our hybrid, both professional and like YouTube lifestyle, where it's like we want something that also feels fashionable, and we're traveling, and maybe I'm just bringing camera gear for the opportunity to shoot versus like I'm actually having to shoot something. Exactly. I don't want to lug a camera bag around.
Like I have meetings next week for some of my films, meeting with distributors and studios, and it's like I don't want to show up to the meeting looking like I'm about to go camping. Yeah. It's like when you come in, you're just like look like a camera. It's like it's nice. This shows up, like I said, it's inconspicuous, but it's heavy, structured. It's not floppy. That my gear is protected, and like I say, I put one of those camera inserts in, or Grams 28 has like these great bag inserts that you can put like clothing in. Yeah, it's just wild how much, because they haven't like added a lot of like big compartments on the inside. It's like this is all space. Yeah. For that, it's just like I throw the hard drive on here, and then
amazing,
8 terabytes. So I have like the whole C-Bum film, all 80 days in proxy form. On this drive. It's like I hate having multiple things plugged in, but then I have this. This is just on the laptop there. Yeah. I, like open up the screen.
Brilliant.
So it's great. Brilliant. I thought with the Grams 28 bag when I got it that I was going to be like jumping back and forth between camera bags, but I've kind of just like it's slowly just become my thing. And now I'm like, even on this trip, I was like, oh, do I go get like my other traditional camera bags? I'm like, no, I kind of want to roll with this.
They also have a couple other great products too, like their crossbody, just for like even traveling with the passport and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Anyways, check it out.
That's where I have like this Carhartt Whip fanny pack. I think fanny packs are really great for filmmakers. Like when you have a backpack on when you're shooting, to me it's disruptive to actually what you're doing, because it's just the positioning. So I love just always having like a little fanny pack to have extra couple lenses on. Sorry, I'm doing the thing where I like I'm lean away from the mic.
No, you're good. Yeah, you're good.
Last two quick things. The red band is really great. Just for, you can do so much for an exercise when you travel. Like just the fact that I can, again, get this like tucked down away and it's light. The red band isn't much resistance, but you can get a good workout. So with it, you just double it up, or like you get into really challenging positions. Like if you want to do a push up, you lean it over your back and you have some extra resistance. So you have to kind of to keep your energy up, you have to constantly be working out. And,
Yeah.
and I don't think being on set for a day counts as that. It's because it's more of your mind that gets zapped. So yeah, I try to stay active when I travel, like get into a new city, go do a workout quickly. And it's that weird thing where working out will give you more energy.
Yeah.
You will be more tired at the end of the day, but I think it kind of disrupts the brain.
Yeah, I also think it helps with your creativity
Yes.
drastically. So at first I was like, oh, he's just showing us his favorite products now.
Yeah.
This is still related to filmmaking.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm like, and here's the granola I like. No, why it's related is my thing was, what do I travel with? Because that's kind of says what's most important. Because space is limited when you travel. It's a great way to kind of ask yourself, what is the gear I like? Like, what do I not leave my home with? And it's like, I always travel with this. I think as a filmmaker, it's really important that you're giving space to think. If you're only ever doing, you're never actually becoming.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is if you don't take time to reflect and take inventory of your life, and whether it's if you do meditation, or for me, it's like prayer and journaling, that is where I need to be centered, and I need to be taking, when I say inventory, it's reflecting on what's been happening, reflecting on who I'm becoming, and also coming back to kind of my mission statements. Like is when I say when your passion and your schedule align, that is fulfillment. And I'm always coming back to, am I working on the stuff I'm passionate about? I think the idea that it's false to say everything you're going to be doing is passionate. You have to have a craft and you have to have a passion, and the craft is kind of your work. But if you're only ever doing the work, you will burn out. And if you're only ever doing the passion, you likely won't be able to pay your bills.
Yeah.
So you have to be doing the both, but that requires pausing, reflecting, and doing some of that. So for me, a journal is so integral. I won't get much into that. It's just you journal.
Yeah.
And
How often are you journaling?
Every day. The thing I try to do once a month, Huberman Lab had a whole episode on this of like for like 2 or 3 days in a row is just spending 20 minutes writing out and not even thinking about what I'm writing, just writing about how I've been feeling. And apparently it's really like great, informative, and it's like helps you get through challenging times. And it's a great way to put an end to like if you've been in a season, you've been having challenges with someone in your life or something like that, just spending that 20 minutes a day journaling for 4 days and not thinking and nonstop, just continually writing, that is really healthy for you to kind of move on from that season. So the journaling is important for me, and I think it's also important because it's tactile. It engages a different part of your brain. Just typing and looking at a screen or dictating, that's not journaling.
Yeah.
Like typing a journal, I don't think it's journaling. I really do think writing it down and having your physical body create the words is an important exercise, because we are physical beings, and I think if we only ever interact with our soul through a digital source, it's only part of the actual engagement to who we are, because it's sitting there in data, and like I said, in an invisible world. I just think it's good to write it out, and sometimes it's like write it out, throw it out. You don't have to go back and reflect on it, but it is fun to go back and reflect on past seasons and be like, oh wow, I've grown a lot, or I've changed, or oh, I actually am still struggling with the same stuff.
I will say that we are beyond 5 items, but a lot of the things that you are chatting about are beyond just like camera gear. And I think what I've always appreciated about you is that you've put a lot of attention towards the thought process, the creative, the development of oneself in filmmaking versus just like relying on the technical aspects that make something prettier. You know how to make something have substance and have a story, and the other aspects that make being on set important. So I'm actually very excited because I know what you have underneath your journal, what we were just chatting about. I think book recommendations are massive.
Yeah, the few I didn't bring with me, I'll start off with is, I think like reflection, to me, I believe we have a soul. Like I believe in that there's intelligent design, a creator. So you don't have to believe that, but I do think you should try to connect with just beyond your physical. A great book that's of a writer I love, it's just called Silence and Joy. It's by Thomas Merton. He's like a monk, and he pulls all these great poems, and it's just kind of a collection of some of his ideas. And I love those 2 words, silence and joy. Like I really do think it's important as a creative, as just a human, to be spending time in silence. That's where we get to engage our mind, our life, our creator, and get to think about those things. And then joy is just, what a beautiful thing. Well, like life is a gift. Like life is truly, even if life is bad, it's like you you never created yourself. You were just born into this world. And so it's like life at its essence is a gift that we didn't earn. So I love that word, joy. So anyways, Silence and Joy, Thomas Merton. I love that. Just Listen, I think by Mark Goulston. That's been an important book for me as a documentarian, because it is about how to ask better questions, how to be a better listener, and how to be more present and to work with challenging people. And I think those things I just named do make good directors, good creatives, good teammates, good leaders. So if you can be more present, be a better listener, and help understand the people, if the people around you feel understood, that's something I would hope in my life that people would remember of me, is that Mark understood me.
Yeah.
And I don't have to agree with you on everything. You certainly don't have to agree with me on everything, but I feel understood. And I think that makes for a better documentary. And I feel like that's something I strive for with the people in my films at the end of the day, is for them to feel like, yeah, I feel understood. I feel like I was able to express myself, and that was put into the film. And I'm not here to agree with the people in my film or to make my audience agree with them, but I want people to feel understood.
Yeah, I also think it helps you not bring like an inherent bias to something.
Yes.
Because I think it's very easy to say like, oh, my lived experience is everybody's lived experience.
Yeah.
But if you just go into trying to understand and you're curious,
Yes.
you're gonna find the story.
Yeah. Curiosity and consistency are defining characteristics of a good film career. If you can remain consistent, showing up every day, and remain curious, the curiosity is going to help you ask, what could I do to improve my work? Who are the people? What about the lives of the people I'm actually just here on set with? And what questions have I not asked about my subject in my film, or about the way I'm approaching? Like every good film, I say, has a question or a desire. It's a curiosity. It's an unmet goal, and that's what we're pursuing when you create a story. And I think you're right. You have to be careful of your bias. I grew up of a pastor's kid. It's like I inherently grew up in that context, so it's like I bring biases with that, and you have to be really aware of those, and you want to be a person who has grace and space to hear other people's lived experience and give space for that. So the most draining thing in my career is not when my films aren't doing well or when a YouTube video tanks. It's when I have tension with the people I love in my life. Mm-hmm. It's like with your partner, if you're not having a good relationship there, or a business partner, or one of the employees, that drains energy. And so I think having emotionally healthy relationships in your life will absolutely emphatically benefit your career. And they say one of the most important decisions you make in life is who you're going to marry. And it's that idea of if they champion you and you can champion them, and you can be a team, that's important. So I love this book. I'll caveat with it that it is written by a Christian author, so that might not be everyone's perspective that they want. But this book, I've gone through it 3 times. I've left it on airplanes. I have lots of highlights in it. But emotionally healthy relationships, it's like a daily reading devotional by Peter Scazzaro. I really appreciate this because he's an overachiever, overworker, and he's had to kind of learn how to be emotionally available, emotionally healthy, and to pull back on how much. So I really empathize with some of his disposition, but I really like this because it's a confronting book about building what they call a trellis in your life. A trellis is what would allow vines to grow. You put that in your backyard, and it creates shade and it creates growth, and it can help create wine, but you need structures in your life to allow the creativity to flow. And a trellis is unmovable, unshakable. So it's helped me look into my life and say, what areas do I need to create a trellis, a system? So it's like I'm waking up, not only am I going to the gym, but I'm spending that half an hour journaling, praying, and just being silent, and then spending time in gratitude. And then also doing a couple conversations in the day that have nothing to do with work, just checking in on people, or just saying hi to someone, or talking to that neighbor. So that, I really appreciate this book. Emotionally Healthy Relationships, I go through it all the time. Like once a year I read this, and it's been really, really helpful for me just to confront my own faults, my own failures, and also to give more space to others and serve them better. So yeah, I don't want my career just to be amazing movies but a trail of broken relationships. It's like I'd rather have okay movies and strong relationships. Like my films are not going to arrive to my funeral. It's like the people are going to be there. So I want to be working on that. And I want to be more emotionally healthy. And I feel like I've been growing in that over the last like my whole life, but especially like the last 5 years. So I'm really grateful for that. So yeah, I don't travel with, I was talking about, well, I brought the gear in that I travel with. Mm-hmm. This is all gear I would go everywhere with. And so it's like, yeah, the journal and like a great like daily devotional or reading like that to me is so, so important, because I'm about to go down to Miami and shoot the biggest interview of like maybe my career, or at least of the film I'm working on. And it's going to be a 2-day thing. We're renting a house, we're lighting it so we can do like 2 6-hour days with the same subject, and the lighting won't change. It's going to be cool. It'll be really fun way of shooting an interview, but I need to be emotionally healthy. I need to be emotionally available in order to sit down with someone and have them give everything about their life to me over 2 days. So yeah, I want to work on myself. I don't want to just, part of my craft is me and how I'm showing up to set and showing up to meet with friends. And yeah, that's really what I want to work on.
Yeah. Building trust and having that opportunity to have meaningful rapport translates so much on camera, and the flow and the environment and the experience. Like there's so much to it, but I want to piggyback off of this because I really appreciate that you are recommending something that I will 100% read, because for me, I think this career, I'm not saying this is for everyone, but I came into this career, funny enough, wanting to like pursue and be successful, hoping that there'd be like more love and attention, because I didn't have the like one thing that I needed to be able to foster that in my life, which was like emotional availability, being emotionally aware, having the language to be able to have that communication, which is funny because I could spend an entire decade going after like what I thought would get me that, rather than just actually realizing it's like internal, because it's a lot of external factors that like kind of play an influence. And I think as a storyteller, as a filmmaker, as a person, that stuff will take you so much further in your ability, rather than focusing on growing the numbers, trying to constantly like get the latest gear so that you think that's what's going to get you the like attention, or that's what's going to bring in what you've been looking for in the first place. And so that I'm excited to read this one. And I commend you for making recommendations that are not always as quote unquote, sexy for a YouTube title, but have depth and substance and are the vegetables of life.
Amazing. I'll ask you one question just on that. What I think someone asked me this, kind of a mentor in my life, is not like, what are you learning right now? It's what are you leaving behind? Like, what is something that you've tried to unlearn? Because I think one of the greatest things I ask myself when I'm journaling and praying is, what's the lie I'm believing right now? Because a lie believed is just as powerful as the truth.
Yeah.
So what's kind of the lie that you believed through that last 5 to 10 years that you're leaving behind and that you're moving forward without?
That numbers, success online, the brands that I've worked with of notoriety have not made me happier. Wow. The money in the bank account, like I recognize and I want to like always acknowledge it's a privilege to be even thinking about that, because not everyone gets the like space.
Not everyone gets to think about money in a bank account.
Yeah, right. I think between those two things, it's like I chased it so hard thinking that would be like the happiness. And once you arrive there, there's gratitude and there's a moment of appreciation and creates like safety, but it definitely didn't feed me in the way that I think I desperately chased it for a long time. And once you get there, you start to like realize that all of those external things are not feeding you. It's like candy. It's like nice little spikes and hits.
Candy's a great way.
But now I'm changing the diet of the way that I think about happiness.
Great. I love that analogy, because like a good breakfast will stick with you, through the day. But like, you're right. If you just like smash a smoothie in the morning, it's like I find my anxiety's up and I'm like you just have this rush of blood sugar, So it's like the quick hits. If you're doing something and it's immediately making you feel amazing, it's like, I don't know how long that can last.
Yeah. It's not sustainable. And I think you get into a world where you convince yourself that that's what you need, so you keep going harder. So if, like, let's say I had like perfectionism issues, I lean even more into being more perfect, and now thinking that that's going to be the thing that like will get me the acceptance or the like opportunities or anything that I actually really wanted. And I'm sitting here now focusing on the dirt on my window, thinking that's going to be the thing that makes people like a shot more. and you're like, you've lost the whole plot.
Yeah, you have. No, I think it's okay to wake up and to not feel good. Like we have to recognize that daily we have to return to that gratitude and recenter ourselves. There's a great verse in the Bible that just says his mercies are new every morning. And why that I think is an important verse is for me has been, it's like, it just tells me it's okay that I daily have to be having perspective. Yeah. Like I need to daily renew myself, because immediately it's like, great, a YouTube video does well, or great, I have a new contract for a film, but that feeling dissipates. And I think that's just human nature. We have this incredible, they say, like, they've done the happiness test of someone who's gotten in a car accident and becomes like paraplegic, and someone who's won the lottery, and they've done like happiness tests. And when the person wins the lottery, or the person wins the lottery, person who's gotten in the car accident, they're like -10, +10. But they go and they ask those people the same questions all through the year, and by a year later, they both have the same baseline happiness. And it's just, we have this incredible, insatiable desire as humans innately that brings us back to an equilibrium. And it's, and that while you're going there, you're having spikes and dips. And so I think it's important to come realize that, like, these highs, you're going to go back low, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of finding that even keel ground.
I think the one line that resonates with me that I've believed for a very long time, and still find myself doing from time to time, is that we all believe that the next piece of gear is going to be like the game-changing thing. It's going to get me the opportunity that I wanted. All of a sudden, your dream client's knocking at the door, but it doesn't end up happening, and you're still there, but just with a bunch more gear that can sometimes even be distracting. What is the one door that someone can knock on that is going to actually propel them and their career in the right areas? That's going to be the thing that adds more substance to their experience.
Great deep question. This will all sound cliche, but cliches do exist for a reason, because there is truth in them. But every person you meet knows something you don't. And I recently did a reel around this, but of asking people, what's the one thing that someone told you that you didn't want to hear, but that you needed to hear? And I think that's a question you can ask some people. You have to kind of ease into that. It's a pretty intense question just to ask someone out of the gate. But I think it's actually an important question to start asking yourself. Because when I started asking myself that question, it was that idea of chaos delayed is chaos multiplied. And I needed to hear that, because there's been moments in my career that I've just been waiting, and I think, if I buy the gear, and then someone's going to call me and want that. Yeah. But it was up to me to attack the problem. I think of like my personal website right now. I haven't updated it in years. That's some chaos. And that's probably multiplying in the background right now, because I might be losing jobs. It's like, so the more I wait, the more that's going to multiply. So I think that email you don't want to write, that tough conversation you don't want to have, the skill you have if you're bad at writing, or you don't feel like your films and your edits are turning out the way you are, you have to address that first. That has to be the first place. So I think the door you can knock on is if you've only been focusing on your strengths and you haven't been seeing the breakthrough. Again, film careers are rewarded by consistency, but that might also be an opportunity for you to work on some of your weaknesses. And I think the weakness that we all have, myself included, I know I'm a doc filmmaker, so it can seem inherently that this might be a skill I have, but I have to listen more. I have to be present more, especially as I make my career more and more busy. I find I'm sitting with people and I'm air quote asking them questions, but I'm just thinking about what my response is, or it makes my brain deviate to tasks I have to do. So that's chaos delays, chaos multiplied. It's like, so that's an area I do know I need to daily be working on is, am I a better listener? Am I a better listener? And I know that I need to improve on it, because the people closest in my life call me out sometimes. They go, are you listening?
And that's what you needed to hear.
Yeah, and that's what I needed to hear. It's like, no, I wasn't. And so I think you can't ever be too present in life. That's what someone told me recently. They said, I was like, I'm afraid I'm just like enjoying this moment too, like I'm focusing on enjoying this moment too much that, but I know I need to get to the next season. They said, I don't think you can ever enjoy a moment too much, because that moment's going to be gone so quickly. and you'll be in the next season before you know it, that I think appreciating where you are, it's even why I know I'm bringing it back to gear, why I brought that light in there, is I have to enjoy this moment, like with any of this gear, that, wow, I have all these tools. They're so compact. They're so available. Like this moment in filmmaking, we all have to enjoy this, that yes, there's an algorithm. Yes, there's AI. Yes, everyone seems to have a camera. Yes, the economy is changing, but it's also, if we were 40 years ago, you would have to have 16 mil film. You would have to have a crew of 5. You would have to have a separate sound person with crazy like sync slates. You would have to have a Steam Deck to edit. No, you can hit record. You can throw you don't even have to throw that memory card thing on the back, but you can make your film right now. You could hit pause on this podcast and you could go make that film right now. So I think being present will never hurt. And right now we have to be present, recognize like what an incredible time to be a filmmaker. And so I'm grateful for that. So I need to remind myself that daily. That's the door I can knock on, is that no one is at fault for where I am at my career besides me.
Oh, we're leaving on that note. You know where to find Mark. I'll put all the links below. He has an amazing channel. He has an amazing art of documentary course you guys should all go check out. I've done a little deep dive before. It's amazing stuff. All links to the products that are available will be in the description below. Thanks, Mark, for being alone.
Hey, thank you, Chris. Appreciate it.
Thanks, buddy.